Tell you what I want to do. Write down what you think is the absolute worst car on sale today, okay?
Do you have music while we do this?
It won't take that long.
I don't mind.
Okay, so look. God, that's amazing. What are the chances of that? We've all written the same car.
The rules of sports car building are surprisingly simple. It has to look good on the outside, look good on the inside. It has to ride well and handle well. So, how does the Lexus SC430 do?
It's none of those things, which is quite an achievement because most cars manage to get at least 2 of those 4 right. I mean, just look at this wood. That is the car equivalent of a giant cabinet for your telly. And it's not like Lexus only had a miserable changing room budgets of about 500 quid to play with. They had bucket loads of cash to spend, and they still came up with a Mexican hacienda. When it was first launched, the SC430 came with run-flat tyres, which of course are virtually solid. Fred Flintstone had a similar tyre setup on his car.
And believe me, it made for a hard ride.
Well, quite recently, Lexus waved the white flag and they replaced the run-flat tyres with ordinary ones and softened the suspension. But not enough. Not by a long way. The problem is, it's not really hard and communicative enough to be a sporty chassis, and it's certainly not comfortable enough to be a relaxed cruiser. It's a dreadful compromise. It's horrible. I don't like driving this thing at all. At least the engine people did their job properly. 282 admirably smooth horsepower. It is a good engine. And so's the stereo, actually, once you've finally waited for the electric gates to open.
And the roof could have been good too. Look at that. 1 minute it's got a roof, the next minute it hasn't. Brilliant. Hasn't got a boot either now. It's all full of roof.
Utterly useless. Mind you, they are leather. It's got a label, which will, I suspect, be left on. The thing is, Lexus can and do make good cars. It's just that when they came to make a sports coupe, it all went horribly wrong.
They didn't follow the simple rules, which is a shame, because if you do, anybody can make a good sports car. Even Hyundai, whose pedigree isn't exactly Lotus.
After all, when they went into making cars, their background was in trains and really heavy industrial stuff. A bit like JCB saying, well, we do good diggers, let's have a go at a car.
And sure enough, not everything's out of the top drawer. Just look at the interior.
I'm sure it probably will last the course, but it does have a whiff of the Amstrad about it. But unlike the Lexus, that is where the moaning stops. I mean, just look at the thing. There have been a few moans that it's cribbing the look of the Ferrari 456. I'm sorry, you can buy a coupe for 18.5 grand that looks a bit like a Ferrari. And that's a bad thing, is it? Right. And then there's the chassis, where the Lexus feels flabby, numb and charmless. This feels tight and sharp. I can feel what's going on. It's egging me on to go a little bit quicker. This is a good drive, and I don't mean a good drive for 18.5 grand. It's just a good drive. Fact. It's not massively powerful. This is the top spec 2.7-litre V6 with 165 brake horsepower, which isn't much. What it does have as well is a lovely 6-speed gearbox, which makes the most of that 165 brake. It kind of makes up for it. It even sounds nice. I really like this car. In fact, for 18.5 grand, this is a proper little charmer. And suddenly, the Lexus just looks like a big, fat 50 grand folly.
Right.